welcome to Voyage TV. I'm Jared Murphy from Voyage Cruises and Travel, and I'm joined as usual by Olivia Van Leerop.
Hi.
Hi. And Tony Smith, one of New Zealand's resident cruise experts, and we'll come back to that. It's very exciting because it's October, which is Plan a Cruise Month, and we're going to spend a bit of time on cruising tonight.
Yes, we are. So as Jared said, October is Plan a Cruise Month, when all the cruise lines dig a bit deeper and sharpen their pencils to give you their best offers for the coming year. This is a worldwide promotion put together by CLIA, which is the Cruise Lines International Association. October also marks the start of New Zealand's summer cruise season. This year, between now and the end of April, New Zealand will welcome 35 ships from 22 companies, making hundreds of visits to ports from Bay of Islands in the north to Stewart Island in the south. Ships range in size from around 100 passengers like Caledonian Sky right through to the mega ships like Ovation of the Seas with 4,000 passengers and everything in between. This year, I believe we are seeing more new ships heading our way.
We are, and Tony Smith represents 3 of the cruise lines coming in. You've got Holland America.
Correct.
Pennant.
Pennant.
And Carnival have a ship coming in as well.
They do.
Yes.
Carnival Australia. Yep.
So tell us a bit about Holland America, because that's probably the biggest of certainly of yours. You've got 3 ships coming in, and they're all doing slightly different things.
So, yes, well, we've got the Nordam and the Marsdam who normally come down around this time of the year anyway and do the Australia-New Zealand cruises. The Nordam will be doing most of that between October and right through till about April. We've got the Marsdam coming down. She's doing a little bit different. She's got a couple of Auckland cruises as well. She's only down here for a little season, probably till about February, March. And then we've also got the Amsterdam coming through, and she's our ship that does the world cruises.
Now the world cruise, that'll be starting in Europe and
it starts in Fort Lauderdale and goes through Panama into LA and then onwards through to all the different ports. She doesn't come through every year; she comes through every second year. It's a 108-day to 113-day cruise, just depending on the different ports that they have.
Wow, how amazing would that be?
I know, wouldn't it be nice?
Take 113 days off.
And the passengers, there's normally about a 60 to 70% repeat base on that for passengers that do the world cruise, so they have a lot of say in what the destinations are that they go to as well, so they don't repeat it the next year.
And the Nordam, what size is she?
Nordam holds 1,950 passengers. She's what we call our Vista class series. She's 82,000 tonne. She's a beautiful ship, and you'll be seeing her on the New Zealand station from about the 30th of October. And as I said, she'll be coming through and doing various 14-day and 15-day itineraries between Sydney and Auckland, and she'll also do some Pacific Island cruises out of Sydney as well.
So on the New Zealand cruises, what sort of ports are we heading to with those?
Well, we're putting in quite a few New Zealand ports. You've got Dunedin, Akaroa, Picton, Wellington, Napier, Tauranga, Auckland, of course, with some overnights in Auckland. And some of the itineraries also will include the Bay of Islands as well. Both the Bay of Islands and Akaroa, unfortunately, though, are tender ports.
Now, with those cruises, those will generally be 12 to 14 nights.
Yes.
Around New Zealand and then across to Sydney, usually.
Yep.
Some of them will include Tasmania, I think.
Yes, most of them should include Tasmania, either Burnie or Hobart. And they'll either go Auckland-Sydney, Sydney-Auckland, or there are a couple that do Sydney-Sydney round trip.
And so what's your favourite New Zealand port and why?
Actually, there's 2 favourite ports,
yeah?
Picton and Napier, because it gives the passengers the opportunity to go out and visit all the vineyards. Napier especially, beautiful port to cruise into. And then they've got the gannet colonies, they've got all those areas to go and visit. Some great. The only problem is they don't spend all day in Napier. But they do in Picton, so again you've got the opportunity to go out to those Marlborough vineyards, and there's a lot of excursions that do, and they're coming back with cases of wine and all that to take home with
beautiful. And then that's all organised as well, so you can just hop off the boat and there'll be a shuttle or
it's all organised on board with your excursions and all that, and cruising the Marlborough Sounds is just absolutely stunning. Especially on a beautiful summer's day.
Amazing.
It is special. And Fiordland with Milford Sound and Doubtful Sound and those sorts of places, those are particularly popular with the Australians.
They are, Australians and Americans. It's a real stunning part of the country, as most people know. But spending all day, if you're coming across from Sydney, you go into Milford Sound about 7 o'clock in the morning, weather dependent. I haven't had a trip yet where we've had to cancel it with fog or anything. And it's while it's nice, while it's sunny, it's actually an overcast day that makes it look really good because it just gives it that eerie sort of feeling with the waterfalls coming down off the cliffs, etc. And then throughout the rest of the Fiordland National Park there, you're going through Dusky Sound, Doubtful Sound, and you know they're on the lookout for wildlife all the time, so there'll be seals and all that sunning themselves on the rocks, etc., etc. Absolutely stunning weather, stunning country, and something that we should really be proud of here in New Zealand.
Yeah, well, New Zealand cruises are really top of the shopping list, particularly for Americans, but I suppose it's not surprising because we're so close, but the Australians have really taken to it, and we've got most of these cruise lines are coming in here to do New Zealand cruises. It's not...
No, that's correct. Yeah, the Australians are taking it by the arm and really enjoying those, especially the Sydney, because it just takes them straight back to Australia. But there are a few that do the Auckland-Sydney or Sydney-Auckland. But then New Zealanders are starting to get into it as well. You know, it's when we first decided to do them, people were saying, well, why would we want to cruise our own country? Well, if you have never cruised New Zealand, you're missing out on an experience. It's totally different going into a city by ship as opposed to driving in.
Completely different, hey?
And the good thing is at night you don't have to drink and drive, you've got to drive a beer already.
Yeah.
You can find your cabin, which can be difficult sometimes. Some of the ships are quite big. Yeah. We did a New Zealand cruise a couple of years ago, and I've often said to people it's quite a good way to visit some of the rallies without, particularly at Christmas time, without having to stay for a long time. And you know, some of the rallies get tiresome. You only have to see them for a day. It's quite.
We did 5 Christmas cruises in a row, and took the family, and it was great because my wife didn't have to cook. She not that she does all the cooking, but but you know everything was done for you. She actually had a holiday. She got to go ashore with the kids, and we got to do some really good things. We've taken other family members with us on various different cruises as well, so it makes it really pleasant for everybody, and everybody can relax and just enjoy themselves. And I'm not one that wants to go ashore all the time. I'll just stay on board and read a book, and well, they all go ashore and have a good time. Kids don't normally want to go ashore anyway either because they've got the swimming pool, they've got the kids club, so they've got plenty of things to do. And it's a really, if nobody's done a Christmas New Year cruise, it's a really great way to do it for families.
Talking a little bit more about families, because Holland America is a classical, what I would call a classical cruise line. So they naturally have a bit of an older age group travelling. But when they're around in New Zealand and Australia, what would you expect in terms of age of passengers and?
The passenger demographic actually really drops, especially during the school holidays, and whether you're in New Zealand school holidays, Australia school holidays, or American school holidays. So. But you've got a lot of families. You know, our ships are pretty well restricted to the amount of kids you can have. You're probably going to find on a 1,900 passenger ship about 120, 130 children, but you wouldn't even know there were that many there because the ship is of a decent size. It does absorb them. Most of them are kept extremely busy with the kids clubs, which gives the parents a break and all that as well. So you might find them going around doing scavenger hunts and that sort of thing. But it's nice to see them all in the pool enjoying themselves. Kids from every nation across the world that are just meeting for the first time and making great friends. My kids have made some great friends in the United States, and they still keep in contact with them now 6 or 7 years later. Yeah,
I didn't think of that part of it. Kids getting to mix with different cultures.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah, that's really great.
And especially when they're down here, because they love... you might get 1 or 2 come ashore with you if their parents say it's okay, and of course they're showing them their country, so they're great ambassadors for that sort of thing as well. Yeah, and
friendships can last as well, and when they're older they can go and stay with the family.
And we get to meet some nice people too, because the parents want to meet us, we want to meet those parents, and everybody gets on. I met a good mate now that runs a mentoring business in the United States, and we keep in contact, probably not as much as we should, but we always, at least 4 or 5 times a year, there's an email going backwards and forwards, and one day we'll catch up again on a cruise somewhere.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
Now, Tony, before we started, you just told me you had a record week last week in terms of cruise bookings, and that's before Cruise Month started. So
don't know what's started. So we're expecting big things for Cruise Month, definitely. It certainly creates the interest and gets the inquiry level up, and bookings for next year are starting to come in, and it's wise to take advantage of Cruise Month because next year is filling up, especially Europe for some reason is actually taking off for 2018.
Now you've just come back from Europe.
Yes, I
think
have.
You spent 10 days.
It's all work, Gerard.
All work, I know. I was following you on Facebook, and you were busy because I think you visited about 10 ships and
we
about 5 cities. And
made sure we did that. Yes.
One of the ships you visited is one we've got a special on, which is the Koningsdam, Holland America's newest ship. So do you want to tell us a little bit why that ship's a bit different in terms of new attractions and new things?
Certainly. The big difference with the Koningsdam against all their other ships is they've got a thing called Music Walk. So it starts off with the B.B. King's band in the Queen's Lounge, then goes through to the Lincoln Centre and the Broadway piano. So you sort of go through an area that walks through the Queen's Lounge first, and then as you come into the main area for the music walk, you've got the Lincoln Centre, which is your classical area, and then straight opposite you've got your piano bar or Broadway, and that's dueling piano. So it's a great new system. Nice big lounges, plenty of space. But the other thing I liked about the Koningsdam is in the main theatre it's got a 270-degree screen. So when you're watching a show, they've got all the backdrops and all that on the screen digitally, and they have a thing now on Holland America Line called BBC Earth, and I saw one on the Koningsdam which was down in the ice, and they put the orchestra on the stage, and there's music that's set for that, and they do a whole performance with narrative, etc. And just to see the Antarctica area on ice is just on that screen. It's just absolutely amazing.
Wow. That's not widescreen. 270 is sort of.
It goes right around, and when they've got flames shooting up and that sort of thing, it's absolutely spectacular. But they also do it for their main stage as well for the backdrops and that as well.
Now we're not seeing Koningsdam down here.
Unfortunately not, only because there's no space for it in Sydney, unfortunately. That's the big drawback with that. It can't get under the Harbour Bridge. So Circular Quay's booked out 5-7 years in advance, so we can't get it down here, unfortunately.
Sydney's not the only port struggling.
No.
We just got advised yesterday that Queen Mary 2 cannot come into Auckland because there's no wharf for it.
Because the container wharf will be all taken on.
So unfortunately this year Queen Mary 2's had to change its itinerary. It'll be staying overnight in Tauranga.
Okay.
People getting on and off in Auckland will have to bus.
Oh, okay.
So, Mr.
Yeah, well, the man
Mr.
needs
Goff,
to sort
we
it
need
out,
to
doesn't
sort
he?
this out.
Yes. Well, they do, because it's going to restrict all these ships coming down, and as much as I say it's Sydney that's stopping it. If that happens, then they're going to stop coming down here, because Sydney is a major attraction for the cruise ships. But if they've got no other port facilities, it makes it really, really hard. And as we saw last year when Ovation was in here, it just creates so much upset in the harbour, upset my fishing day, because I had to slow right down to 5 knots to go past the thing. But you know what I mean, it's queuing, it's everything, and the passengers really don't want to have that sort of thing on board. So yeah, the council and the ports need to sort something out pretty quickly.
But we have Koningsdam in Europe.
We do.
For Cruise Month we have actually 3 deals you can combine. So
yeah. So with Holland America Line, you've got a $300 onboard spending per stateroom.
That's US dollars.
US dollars, yeah. Yep. We've also got Explore 4, which gives them their drinks package, gives them some alternative dining options as well. And also we have a €999 Europe Air offer if they're taking a veranda stateroom.
That's above. Australian dollars, so it works out to
so
1,049 New Zealand dollars.
Yeah.
And that air offer is with Quality Airlines, so...
It is, yes. And that's all it's going to cost you to get there.
So it's 3 deals you can combine.
Wow.
It is, they're all combinable, correct.
For Cruise Month, month of October. So.
Yeah. Oh, there's some great deals out, and as I said, but people need to get in, because things are starting to fill up on various things, and once things start filling up, then some of these deals get taken away because they're not needed anymore.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's all on availability, but at the moment there is availability there, but people should not waste time in doing that.
Yeah.
Now the Fly to Europe for 1,049 offer is available on 55 cruises, I believe,
That's correct.
and the Explore Floor. And if you do book in October, you only have to pay a deposit. You don't have to pay the full amount.
No, that's right.
You get all 3 deals.
Yes.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah, it is a good deal.
We'll just take a short break because I want to show you something very special, and we'll come back and talk about this and subantarctic islands.
Holland America Line offers the most carefully crafted journeys at sea, creating unforgettable experiences for guests all over the world. From special access to Alaska's unspoiled Glacier Bay, to an overnight in Copenhagen, so you can enjoy the city's evening magic. Explore the 4 corners of the earth and the 7 seas. Come, savor the journey, only on Holland America Line. Call your travel professional or visit hollandamerica.com.
Now, there's one other cruise line I just want you to briefly talk about, and that's Ponant.
Ponant?
You've represented Ponant for some years.
We have.
And this is a small ship French cruise company.
Yeah, they hold 200 passengers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, you've seen the ships. So
I've
tell
seen
us
the ships. They're absolutely superb. They've got 4 more ships that are being built. One of the newer ships is coming down very shortly. I think La Perouse is the name. I may have the name just a little bit,
That's right.
bit wrong, and my French isn't exactly 100%. But those ships are going to have an underwater observatory in the main lounge. So they're really really nice, very intimate, nice sized staterooms, beautiful food on board, plus all your drinks are included in the price as well.
That's handy.
Now, this particular ship, La Perouse, is coming down. We had one cruise with Ponant this year that sold really fast.
That's correct.
And that's a cruise that goes from Dunedin and around all the subantarctic islands of New Zealand. So you're going to Campbell Island, Antipodes, Bounty Island, Macquarie Island, which is Australia actually, then includes Stewart Island and Milford Sound, the Fiordland area. Those sold out really fast. This is an area of New Zealand that people just don't get to see normally, and most of the ships that have traditionally gone there have been converted Russian icebreakers and things on the way to Antarctica.
I went down there when I was in the Navy. Yeah, Campbell Island, Auckland Islands, it's beautiful down there.
Yeah.
And this is top of the range luxury.
Yes.
So we're just going to mention this cruise because it's 23rd of February next year for 16 nights, and it's on La Perouse, which is the brand new ship.
That's correct.
With the, how do you describe this bar? That's
underwater observatory deck, and it's got the lights are designed so that you can actually see out and see the fish and.
That's so
all that.
fantastic.
It
And
is.
you can sit and have a glass of wine or a coffee while you sit there.
Yeah,
and
that's correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's
that'd
like
be
Kelly Tarleton's, but you
amazing.
move
Kelly
it through
Tarleton's,
real
but
life.
moving.
Way
correct,
better,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now this particular cruise is available on special. They're not cheap because it's total luxury, all inclusive.
And it's small ship, and no small ship cruising is cheap. But what you pay for is what you get. It's
Yeah.
well designed for shore excursions. It's well looked after. The staff are absolutely great on board.
Yeah.
Most of them are French.
I like
and
that.
you know, if you talk to the staff, some of them will give you French lessons as well. So if you want to learn a little bit of French,
that's really
you can learn
neat.
that as well. So
There you go, French and fish all in one cruise.
yeah, exactly.
Now that one is available at the moment on 25% discount, which is unusual for
Wow.
Ponant. They don't often do much discounting, but it's an early purchase one, so that's coming in at around 16,500 New Zealand dollars.
Yeah, with Ponant, their discounting starts at 30% as soon as the cruises are released. Then as the ship fills up, that discount drops. So already it's filling up because we've dropped to 25%. As it fills up more, it'll go 20, 15, 10, etc.,
Right.
until it's that full. They don't need to discount.
Yeah.
Now that's some time away. You've got till the 23rd of February 2019,
Yes,
but
but there are
it's
miles.
not that far away.
You know, if you're going to Europe, there's a lot of European cruises on Ponant. There's some great ones out of Venice that do all of Croatia. So there's a lot of different options that are available for people on these newer ships as well.
That's the sort of ship that attracts me as well, the smaller size. I think that'd just be beautiful and you get quite a personal experience. And
And you get to know everybody. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
It's amazing how much you mingle a lot more on
Yeah.
those smaller ships than you do on the bigger ones.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It suits your super yacht background.
Well, yes.
And these, if you do happen to see Pennant's ships in New Zealand ports, they do look like large super yachts.
They
They're
do.
stunning.
They do, yes. Yes.
Gorgeous.
But you will see them at the cruise terminal and that as they come into Auckland.
We'll take a short break and we'll come back and remind you about those Holland America and Pennant deals and a little bit about a walking tour I did recently in Hong Kong.
The Arctic, Antarctica, Oceania, South America, the Mediterranean. Cruising with Ponant is to discover the treasures of the world by sea. Ponant, discover yacht cruises and 5-star expeditions. Begin the experience at ponant.com.
And we're back. And now Tony is not the only one who has been travelling around. You've just been to Hong Kong and some amazing places in Asia. So tell us about that.
After 40 years of tourism and travel, I decided I better go and see Hong Kong. I've never got there.
Wow.
So I took an opportunity. I went and actually did a cruise course. I know it sounds silly, but I've never actually done any formal exams in cruising, so I went and did that.
That's reassuring.
So that was on a cruise out of Hong Kong, and we went to Okinawa, Naha in Okinawa, and Miyakojima, which is one of the Okinawan islands of Japan.
Oh, yeah.
And we played target practice a little bit for Kim Jong-un, being floating around in the ocean between Guam and North Korea. But one of the highlights, apart from the cruise, one of the highlights was a walking tour I did in Hong Kong. And this was a food walking tour of Hong Kong Island.
Oh, yes. Sounds right up
It
your
was
alley.
very special, and if people like Chinese cuisine, I saw how it was all made, and we
Yeah.
went into the kitchens. And but one thing I want to show you was just, you hear about barbecued pork being one of the delicacies of Hong Kong Island. This is how they do it. So they have what amounts to a big kebab shop out the back,
Oh, yeah.
and 3 big ovens, and one of these ovens can take up to 3 pigs roasting.
Wow.
And there's another guy with a big fire pit. He is hand turning
The
piglets,
pigs. Oh,
and it was 33 degrees outside, and it was about
Yeah.
300 degrees inside.
wow.
But the food was fantastic, and that's my new thing. I've done it several cities around the world now. If I can't think of a good sightseeing tour to do, I look up food walking tours. and
Yeah. That's
that's
great.
my
Well,
thing.
it's the best way to experience a culture. Food is at the heart of a culture, isn't it?
And we did
And-
everything from raw sugar juice
Yeah.
through to sweets and dim sum and
Yeah.
all sorts.
Oh, well, they do all sorts in China, don't they? You know?
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, sightseeing tours are supposed to give you an authentic local experience of a country, but this tour takes that promise to extremes. Imagine paying to be chased, shot at, and verbally abused on your holiday. That's what you'll get from this tour in Mexico, which offers a live simulation of what it's like to cross the border from Mexico to the United States illegally, at night and under stressful and dangerous conditions.
Why wouldn't you?
Wow, yeah, sounds amazing. Caminata Nocturna, or the Night Walk, is a 3-hour, 12-kilometre obstacle course which involves running across rugged land and through streams and bushes, all while being pursued by Border Patrol agents, firing guns with loaded blanks, sirens and fake drug cartel members also to up the adrenaline. The tour, which has been running since 2004, has given thousands of tourists a taste of what it's like to be an immigrant. It takes place within the 3,000-acre recreational park in Mexico that's owned and operated and staffed by the Hanu Indians, an indigenous group whose population has been decimated due to its members heading north to cross the border. More than 70% of its community has immigrated to the US with the hope of a better life. The tour has raised eyebrows in the past, viewed as being a kind of boot camp that trains Mexicans and Central Americans on how to sneak into the US. However, the park Eco Alberto maintains that it is patriotic and is meant to discourage migration. The concept of the Night Walk is born with the aim of raising awareness among our young people in the community, showing them not to risk their lives looking for a better life in another country or living the famous American dream, projecting a vision and a motivation to look at new productive projects it states on the park's website. The tour is a big employer in the community. So there's positives.
I think I'll stick with my food walking tour, or
No.
perhaps the other one is wine tours, of course.
I guess some people like a bit of adrenaline.
We're nearly out of time, but I need to remind you that it is Plan a Cruise Month, in case you didn't get that message already. But I just want to give you one example of the Holland America deal we talked about before. And at the moment, you can combine 3 offers, which is Holland America's airfare of $1,049 with Quality Airlines all the way to Europe. You can combine that with the Explore 4 package, which gives you a beverage package and a Pinnacle grilled dinner. And also, during Plan a Cruise Month, you can get $100, $200 or $300 per cabin, US dollars, to spend on board, depending on the cabin grade. Now, you're probably wondering what sort of cruises they do. One I like, which I selected from their list of 55, is actually a combination of 2 cruises out of Rome. So this gives you a 19-night cruise. In April next year, it does all of the Western Mediterranean and the Eastern Mediterranean, including Greece, starting from $5,899, a veranda stateroom from $7,665, or if you really want to live it up, a suite from $13,721. Now that comes with, of course, all those 3 bonus offers. So, Tony, that's a pretty good deal.
It is a good deal, and it's a popular cruise as well, those longer ones.
So we hope we can sell some of our viewers on that for you.
Be nice if you could.
And that's on the Koningsdam, which is the newest ship and one of your favourites.
It is one of my favourites, and when I took 2 of my staff on while we were in Europe, it's become their favourite as well. They just see the value that the ship has got on board and the different dining areas, because they've introduced a whole lot more dining areas on board that ship as well, for people to enjoy their cruise.
It's interesting that you say you took your staff onto the cruise ships. It's interesting, isn't it, Jerry?
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we take Olivia down on...
I think we can, yeah, certainly. We're having
If we just give a lunch and a wine trip, you happy?
yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. Let me arrange it.
And perhaps later in the season, we'll see if we can get 2 or 3 viewers down as well, see if we can do some sort of promotion on that.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
That's how deals are done. Well, Tony, thank you for coming in, and
Okay.
we hope you have a wonderful cruise season. I know it keeps you really busy
Yeah.
and keeps you out of the fishing boat, but
Oh, that's all right. I'll be on a big boat.
so thanks for coming in.
That's all right.
And as
Thank
is
you.
customary, you can't walk away without the bottle of In Vivo wine.
Thank you very much. Look forward to it.
Well, Olivia, you'll be happy all summer because we've got you an invitation to lunch on board.
Yeah, it'd be lovely.
Keep you happy. And we will be back next week with more about Plan a Cruise Month and some more exciting offers. But until then, bon voyage!
Bon voyage!